It's put in waiting room.
Ah, you go to the waiting room and I'll talk to you later. We're going to have a discussion about your behavior.
Gonna
That,
tell you're in
okay, share
timeout.
screen, and that's on. Good. Okay, so
Whew,
uh,
look at
let's
that
start from the
scribble.
beginning. So on these songs, it's easy enough for me to sit down and actually write out a chord sheet like this.
Huh?
So when I had the song in my mind, it wasn't that hard to sit down and write out, okay, this is, I could sing it and then I could write down the lyrics and put the chords where they go. So, so this is kind of the very first thing I can get done is write out the whole song. Now, but what I want to do is go from this to actually transcribing it into musical notation.
Okay.
So next thing I'm doing is writing out the notes that belong with the melody. So this one is when the worst things fill your day. So it's D D D D, B B D G. Okay, so now I've got the right notes and I've got them pinned into the right measures,
All
which is
right.
really important from my point of view. So because I'm where I get challenged is okay. So I know I need 4 D5s, and D5 is just an indicator of which D is it, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's that D right there, and I know I've got 4 of them pinned in the first measure. So now I'm only going to try and do the notation for that first measure. So then I can come over to my guitar software. So we're only worried about this measure right here. And where I get tripped up is doing the timing for those 4 beats. And
Okay.
so this is and this whole discussion is what I'm trying to do to overcome that problem, right?
All right.
Because the first thing I realized is, oh, well, you know more about this. You got to write down everything you know, which is now we know there's 4 Ds, and we know they're right there in that first measure. So the only question we have is, what's the timing for those 4 Ds? So then it became a matter of, okay, well, I've got, so they're not evenly spaced. The first one has a longer period. The fourth one has a longer period. But the middle 2 aren't eighths. That was my first guess is the first one is a quarter and a dot. The fourth one's a quarter and a dot. And the middle 2 are eighths. But if the third one were an eighth, then you would come into the fourth one faster, right? It would be, there wouldn't be a pause there. When the worst things fill your day. So I think that lets me, so I know the first one there's a pause after it and they're not evenly spaced. The second one is an eighth because it leads into the third one faster. And I know the fourth one is slower again. I'm gonna get my marker off the fourth one. But maybe it doesn't have, but it can't have as long a pause as the first one because there's no more time left. There's only 4 beats, right?
Okay.
And so the fourth one ended up being a quarter with no dot. And so that balances out because if the third one turned out to be a quarter, then there's another eighth missing somewhere. So the fourth one ended up being a quarter with no dot. And then when I have the music software play it, now what I'm listening for is, does the software play what I'm singing or what I heard? So that's what we're hoping is to hear that. I'm going to tell it to solo just the this track so we don't hear the accompaniment with it. So now I think that's emulating what I wanted it to do, which is, so now I think the music software is, so I think that's going to be my process, and it'll get better as we go, because it could be that after a while I get to where I know, I'll see the notation in my mind instead of having to do it by braille like this. But trapping it to the measures, realizing I got these four notes that belong somewhere in this measure. So that's the first step. Now in the other song I was working on.
Bruce,
Yes, ma'am.
you haven't asked me a question yet.
Oh no, this is all one long question.
Okay.
What I'm explaining to you is this is the process that I'm using to try and get the actual music notation written out
Okay, of
And
your own song.
of my own song.
Okay, cool. Okay.
But if you were transcribing some other song, wouldn't be different.
No,
If you were listening to the Beatles' "Hey Jude," I would do the same method.
that
I
is
would
correct.
say, first, let's figure out where the measures are, then what chords are in the measures, and then what notes for the melody. And then let's just talk about one measure at a time and what timing those notes get.
That is right.
I believe the transcribing would be the same. But
Yes.
but I know people that do a lot of transcribing, they can listen to a song and then write it all out without using the music software. See, I'm
Okay.
using the music software to play back so I can tell if I got it right or not. But
All
they
right.
can write it out and they know it's right. So baby steps. The but no, my question is, do you see a simpler way to do this, or am I on the right path?
No, you're on the right path. There's not a simpler way for uh, you're scoring. You're not charting. You're completely doing a music piece. You're scoring it out. You got treble clef. You don't have bass, but you got tablature. You have uh, measures marked. You have 4/4. You have the sharp uh, up there. So you're no. This is correct. You're scoring a piece out. You're
Now, this is
noting.
what Guitar Pro uses as a default for guitar and vocals. So, in other words, this is the guitar part down on the treble clef below, down
Okay.
here. This is
Yeah.
the rhythm guitar playing.
All
And
right.
then this would be a second guitar playing solo, or that would just be what you sing.
Or a piano. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
vocalist,
All right.
and this is the guitarist. So, in a singer-songwriter, this is kind of their default as one treble clef for the vocals. Although if you were a bass, you'd have it to be a bass clef instead, but a
Mm-hmm.
treble clef for everybody else. And then down here and that's why the guitar annotation actually has guitar tab with it
That's cool.
for people that don't. This is the exact same though as, so we know once we get this written out, we know the lyrics and we know where the chords belong.
That is correct.
And so that's just a matter of bringing that in here. So this just happens to be the strumming pattern I'm using with those chords. So it's, so that part's simple. What I was doing at first was just putting those as hold notes, just to hold the thought and to represent. You could do whatever strumming pattern you're feeling, right? Like you like more um, meager strumming pattern, less strumming, more singing.
Depending upon the song, yes.
That's the so at first when I was doing annotation, I thought just put in whole notes and then let the performer decide. But I'm trying to show the strumming pattern that was intended.
All right,
So
you're doing it right. And I haven't got a question, or
good.
I don't feel like you're. I
You don't see a massive waste of time.
No. Oh, absolutely not. You could add. You could write parts for the tenor. You could write parts for the alto. You could write parts for the soprano. You could write parts for the bass. So that would be your next thing
Yeah.
you would do if you were gonna like score out a whole piece for a symphony,
Oh,
and
to
then you
write the
have
harmony.
yeah, yeah. So
They're
you're
wanting to sing more harmony at Guitar Jam, so that's a whole nother different topic that I haven't
harmony
looked
for
into.
me personally is difficult. I have a tendency, I will start just singing whatever my ear is listening to, and I have to truly focus if I want to harmonize.
Yes,
Uh, and it has to be whatever the harmony that I'm singing, that note has to be
somewhere.
more prominent than the entire in the piece. That's what
Okay.
I learned from being in vocal ensembles, that I
Yeah.
had to actually hear my part more prominently played. And that means we would do what you're doing right now, is take a section and play that section, and we would practice just that section.
Yes.
So you're doing it right. You're doing it right.
And we could. So for most of these songs, though, I think my intent is just to write out this, so that I have this song actually recorded.
Yeah.
And in my mind, if you were going to file a song for copyright, this is what you would send them. Along with the
Yes.
recording, the actual recording of the song.
Yes.
And so that's what I'd like to do is with any song that I write, actually write out the complete notation,
That's good.
the guitar
That's
notation, not the
excellent.
piano version, and then work from that. Okay, so let's hear this one, and then we'll hear the other one, because that convinced me that I'm not wasting, I'm not doing something really inefficient on the
Absolutely not.
transcribe it. Is that large enough for you to see?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that chorus at the bottom comes up to the right column, so it should be okay. This is Love to Make You Smile. And so we did this one for the first time at the jam last night,
Oh yeah.
over the weekend. This one is an interesting one. It's actually a song that I wrote, the melody I wrote a long time ago, created a long time ago. So, but I went back and I like this one so much that I wrote the lyrics for it this weekend and then wrote down the guitar chords so that I could play it.
Nice.
And then, and now we're trying to get the notation done. So, Love to Make You Smile. In G. In case you learned it in some other key. When the worst things fill your day, nothing seems to go your way. You know I'll be with you, love to make you smile. When the world just treats you bad, everything just makes you mad. You know I'll be with you, love to make you smile. When your aches won't go away, feeling bad, come what may, I'll be there to be with you, help you out and see you through. When the world just treats you bad, everything just makes you mad, you know I'll be with you, love to make you smile. When the world just treats you bad, everything just makes you mad. You know I'll be with you, love to make you smile, love to make you smile. I'm
Very
having a lot
nice.
of fun with this one. There's still parts of it that I'm trying not to be too breathy and da 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 and keep it at a constant pace. but I like it overall.
Good job, sir. Is this your first time to write a song?
This is the first time to write a song, do the guitar orchestration and the lyrics with it, and then perform it.
Outstanding.
That makes sense? So I've written songs
Outstanding.
before, but this one is the complete song as opposed to, like, several years ago I started off with one of the music programs, but I wasn't doing an instrument. I was just using a computer to write out the different parts
Uh,
and then play it back on the computer until I got it just the way I wanted it. But I couldn't perform the song. And so
and
now it's trying
now,
to do the whole package.
now you can perform it. Bravo, 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 bravo.
We've gotten where I can play the guitar well enough to play a song I wrote.
That's excellent.
So
Good job.
I was trying to decide at the end of this solo part. So the solo repeats the verse. So we're looking right here.
Mhm.
I was trying to decide, it's kind of a crutch, but one thing that I could do there is finish out the, and then lead into an E. When your aches won't go away. It makes it easier for the singer to hit that E minor, that high E for the E. That's literally they're singing an E. When your aches won't go away. So it's when your aches won't go away. So the melody and the harmony are the same, just octave off.
So you're
But
talking about taking off the A C G and just going A C G E.
or I thought about that, going A C G E, or just sticking another E on the end of the A C G G, just having an errant E. It would fit better if you had the E there instead of the G, but it would confuse the other people playing along because they would expect there to be a G there. But it would help the singer if you had an E there so that they could hear the E before they have to hit it in the next bar.
So you give them how long of a count, a beat after the G to get them into
They get
that
a whole measure.
E. Okay, that's good.
When your aches won't go away, feeling bad, come what may, I'll be there to be with you, help you out and see it through. That E minor 7 and the A, the building there seems plain, but I think because it's like building enthusiasm, and then it comes, and then when it comes back to the G, it's really like coming home. So, okay, that's that one. Any advice on this one?
No, because for one, it's your song, so you can write it, make it feel like however you have structured it very well, and you've written it out very well. The notation is excellent. All you're gonna do from here on out is tweak it to whatever you want to make it do.
However you're performing it, as it changes,
Yeah.
as you perform it, keep editing the thing to reflect. The other thing is I really wish on the outro I just repeated the whole verse again, because I think that was confusing to other people trying to play along.
Well, there's no reason why you can't.
I know. I'll go back and edit it again. It's just that's a change,
But you only knew that from going out and doing it live.
Yeah, it's a cool twist there if you're playing it solo. The way it's written is nice because it suggests the verse without going through the whole thing. But if I hadn't playing it live and you got 7 other people trying to keep up, they're expecting the whole verse there, or the soloist. I did an odd thing here. I wrote out the melody in notes, so if someone were trying to play this cold, then they could play through the melody, which I would love on a lot of songs, right? So that's basically the, you know. Sorry. So that way you can get the melody straight in your head before you have to play it, which I would love to have at all my songs at the jam. is if I could just hear the first 5 notes of the melody, I could get on tune. But that's also the start of getting the notation done, because
Yeah.
now I'll be able to say. Now this one has the things I hate, where the G doesn't start in until that measure doesn't start until GRU, that it's actually playing off the last of the intro.
Grew?
Yeah,
What is
that
grew?
measure starts with GRU on the verse right here.
I
First
see
measure
when.
starts there. There's a when.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
That's what I always groan about when they're. That was one of the things I had the most trouble learning to sing. And thank you very much. I also would like to mark our success on that part, where I think this is going very well. And when you and I were doing guitar lessons before, I could not play and sing at the same time. and if we hadn't made good progress before I got the jam started, then I wouldn't have been able to participate. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's because you're doing it, dude. I love it.
This is Where Did My Brown Go? When I grew my goatee, it was brown speckled with gray. Now the gray has washed across my face, and the brown has gone away. Where did my brown go? This is entirely too much gray. The years, the tears, and the fears have taken my brown away. Here's your solo.
That's good.
Thank you. I loved you when we were young. We raised our family. I love you still. I always will. Why did my brown have to flee? Where did my brown go? This is entirely too much gray. But the years, the tears, and the fears have taken my brown away. Someday when I meet you in heaven, someday far from here, my goatee will be pure brown. You and I will be together, dear. Here's your solo. Where did my brown go? This is entirely too much gray. But the years, the tears, and the fears have taken my brown away. Where did my brown go? This is entirely too much gray. The years, the tears, and the fears have taken my brown away.
was out of tune. That was
Oh
very
no!
great. This is a great song, Bruce.
Yay!
Extremely commercial. Very easy to, my brain instantly went, this is a movie score or a segue or a, this is great. That's a good.
You say 3/4, and then we start playing it again. You can do another solo. Have fun.
That's a great song, bro. Good
Yeah.
job.
Yay. Let's spend. I've got
You know why it's a good song? Because it relates to everybody.
everybody that's got a beard.
or or just,
Everybody that's getting older and loves someone.
there you go.
Yes.
Great.
Da-da. This one is a song that I've written and I still can't play very well. I think we have played it before, but we're gonna hit it again tonight just because the our, fa- our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Forgive us our trespasses. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom forever and ever, forever and ever. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And yeah, we need to put a solo in this one too. I think it would be chorus, verse, solo in this case, and then chorus.
That part of uh, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Our Father, that's your meat right there.
Yeah, if I could get to where I could play it, I could play it. Yeah, you could put more melody into it. Our, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And it's too high for me. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done internet is unstable. Is it such a problem?
That's a cool lick, man.
Play. D minor to D minor.
Does that say G minor?
Play. That will be done.
Kingdom come. Yeah.
Oh, let's play that. Let's play it.
Okay.
Let's pull it up. We're giving it to you. People can read it for free.
That's good. Fingers. What is G minor? E diminished. You're so fancy.
Yeah, E diminished is, look, just these two fingers. I drew a picture of it at the top of the score for you. 01200. 01200. Starting from the, yeah.
Look at you, fancy man. Ew.
Just play
One
the
and
first
two?
4 strings.
Okay. I got new strings, so they keep going out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens for me too. They tell me in the tutorial how to stretch them so that doesn't happen, but that happens for me.
They stretch out the more you play them, but
Although I will say, the last one I took it to the tech and he did them, and they're beautiful, and they haven't been a problem. They're beautifully cut out right at the thing, and very few turns, and da da da. So
there's a mechanism. There's a play it, strum it, stretch it, play it, strum it, stretch it, play it, strum it 5 times. By the 5th time, it should be in tune. I would totally make that bounce.
yeah, you could add a lot more emotion to the accompaniment. If I could learn to play it, so this is what I'm thinking is I just need to add this into the regular rotation and try and go through it every day. Go ahead, Tori. Are you picking out the melody?
That's great. Love it.
Yeah, that one's going to be easy enough to get the melody written out. And yeah, but getting the transitions like the G minor to a D minor.
Well, if you use that chord shape,
Yes.
of the
Find the G minor in that
of the
shape.
G minor chord shape, yeah, you could just slide it from the 5th to the 3rd fret to the blah, 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 blah.
So a D minor, this would be a C. This is a C minor.
So your D would be on the 5th.
C, so the D is here. So our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Yeah.
Kingdom come, thy will be done. Yeah, that's probably going to be easier to transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's all bar chords. They're going to boo me at the jam.
Then they can play the other part.
Yeah, that's probably better is to go to, so that would be the, let's test that versus, I think that's the same chord.
Same.
So yeah, I think that's the answer there is do the D minor here. Now still be one of those guys that everyone hates because the whole song is bar chords. Except the E diminished that nobody knows what the heck it is.
I don't know why they would hate you for that. It's silly. They didn't write the song. It's not their song.
Yeah, I think that's going to be helpful though. Is we'll try and do it with E diminished on the bar chord. Because once you get, it's the same thing almost all the way through. Well, the verse and the chorus are different, but it's the same. It's the same chords all the way through. It's just the sequence is different.
Because you could even stay right there in that box. Because you could do your B flat right there too.
Oh, you think?
Because you could do the 5th fret to the B flat, which is on your 5, 6, 7.
Around the 5th fret.
It'll be on the 6th fret for your B flat.
What shape is it?
Should be the same shape as the G.
G minor. Oh, I see. You're saying that's the G, that's the A, that's the B. That's the A, that's the B.
You're right all in that
B
box.
minor should be right there. No, the B minor is.
You got B flat out the hallowed by the name.
Yes.
So that would be on 6th fret.
Right. I went to 7 for B instead of 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a 6th fret, just a normal G, A minor.
B. B flat. And then back to the D minor, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to eventually be easier.
That'll make you basically be in a 4, 5 fret box.
I'm going to have to find an F down there too then.
Your F would be on the 5th string on the 7th fret. Because it's, 8th fret.
So that's going to be a nice from that B flat to the F then. B flat's on the 6th fret.
So you know how we were walking the box?
Yep.
So your box is 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So your what is that? D? There's your D again. Find your root on your first finger for your bar chord,
Yes.
and that'll give you your shape that you're playing in, because you're basically playing on the 6th and 5th string for the whole thing. That's great
I
song.
think my If I put it in the guitar thing, it will show me, it will let me put chord stamps with it, and then that'll act as a prompt for remembering what the heck chords are we playing here. Although, because this software that I did this with doesn't have a good, it doesn't have a good method to let you pick out alternate chord shapes, but the Guitar Pro will. So that'll be better. So yeah, I'll start working on that one on the in the bar chord shapes instead. I think if I'd known that, I would have put this one further back in the queue. Because to me, that makes this a harder song to play back. It's good. It's good development, but it's harder to play.
It's got a great hook. The ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da is a total hook.
Oh yeah, it can be very bluesy, I think.
These are nice new strings. I totally changed up my strings on this guitar. It's nice.
What did you go with this time?
On the acoustic I do elixirs, but I use the bronze instead of phosphor bronze this time.
You were
And
saying
this is the tone is brighter, lighter or brighter, one or the other.
did
But
you still stay with light strings?
I don't use like super light strings because they cut into my fingers. I
Yeah.
usually these are medium gauge elixirs, but they're bronze and not phosphor bronze. And then on my electric, I use jazz. I use these guys.
XL, the purple ones.
Yeah, the
Chrome.
Diodario
I
chrome.
use Diodario on both my electrics, but it's not those. It's like an orange one. It's an orange.
These are warm, mellow, flat tone Diodario 1150, so medium gauge, jazz light gauge strings. I love those strings.
So that's my report for this week. I'm going to try and get some of these transcribed. I've got other songs that I want to get ready for guitar.
I
So
am
I'll work on
super
that.
proud of you, sir. Very,
Okay.
very, very good.
These,
Very good.
these seem to go well at jam. I played both Love to Make You Smile and um, Where Did My Brown Go? They told me several. Yeah, Alexa heard something. Um,
They
and
told you.
they both played well at the jam, so good. But as I say, we could probably make it smoother for them if we if I fix that chorus at the end on. You know, they dealt with it because I started playing slower, and so they knew something was changing, and then they just watched to see what chords I'm playing, and then play those chords. Well, that's how you do it at jam, right? You don't you can hear, because this is so consistent, G, G, E minor, C, G, A, they can get the hang of that and play all the way through. But it's just because this didn't go through the whole sequence, then, but as soon as they realized I was playing something different, then they knew they had to listen, pay attention to what I was doing. So.
And with jams, in order to be a jam, you try to let them have room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's why the solos are written in so that it reminds me to.
let them
But
have
I
room.
think it sounds better with the solos, even when, like, I've got in the recordings I posted, I took both those recordings and put them on my phone, like local on the phone, so that I could play it over and over again to get it straight in my mind exactly how the melody goes.
Right.
The and even just having those breaks on the phone on the guitar sounds good, and it makes a nice break in the song, if you see what I mean.
Yep.
So it makes a nice instrumental break regardless of if you had somebody soloing or not. Although it would be nice if you had two guitar parts there, one that was playing the melody and one that was playing the harmony.
Root and fourth? Root and fourth or root and fifth? No, it'd be root and fourth. Go ahead.
Just to stamp on the melody.
Good job, sir.
Good to see you. Thank you for being on. I will hit stop sharing the screen so you can actually see bigger pictures. But thank you for being on. So I'll keep working the melodies this way. I was happy. I was delighted to find that writing out the chord sheets was easy. It was relatively easy. Once you found the chord, pick out what key it's in, and then there's only 7 choices there, so you can pick out. Although sometimes I think, and this is what I was asking you about before. So the first thing I was doing was, when I had the song in mind, is I was doing a voice memo of the song.
Ah, yes.
So I'd sing it into a voice memo, and then I'd play back the voice memo to see. And this is what I was asking you before: how do you keep the process of transcribing it from changing it in your mind?
Oh, because doing exactly what you're doing, recording it and listening to it playback, or because now that you have the knowledge, you can go, oh, let me go play a G chord. Is that the kind of G chord I want? Or do I want this kind of G chord? So now that you have an instrument under your hands, your writing notation will become easier.
But it's still good.
It's still
I'm
good
still
to
sticking
hear.
with the same. The nice thing about the voice memo on here is, it is the built into the iPhone, right?
Yeah,
Built into iOS, is you can tell it, I want to edit the file, and then advance it to whatever part you want to.
right?
So you can come right back in and re-record a chorus if you need to, or re-record the verse
Yeah.
just by going to that section. And so by doing that,
Yeah.
trying to get that break, trying to get that bridge, and figure out what notes. So when I had that, then I could say, well, you know what? That's supposed to be the E. It just wasn't hitting the E in the recording.
Something else, you can also sing that and then play it to a tuner, and the tuner
Yes.
will, if you don't know what the notes are, a tuner will
Yes.
tell you what notes you're playing.
Absolutely. I've been using that trick with trying to figure out what key bands were actually playing things in.
Yeah.
I pulled up this piano tuner, which is, it doesn't just do the guitar notes, it does whatever note. So if you say ah, then it says, oh, that's an A.
Yeah. Those
But
are
what I was
excellent.
finding is, because a lot of the transcripts of music online are written for banjo, so it's all in G, so they don't have to use a capo. They can just G, 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 G. And so when you listen to the recording, the thing says this is exactly like the recording. But then when you listen to the recording, they're singing in B.
So they
And
did a
so the
cheat.
banjos is supposed to be capo 4 to get that jacked up to B. And I said, darn banjos. But then when I put the capo, because that drives me nuts. Because once I'm practicing to the actual recording, I'm practicing singing the actual recording, which you don't have to, because you can adjust it to your range, as we said. But if the recording's in my range, I want to sing it to the recording.
Yep.
And then the music's the wrong key, even though they say, oh, this is just like, yeah.
Welcome to my world.
So I think, so that was the other critical piece I left off, is first is doing a voice memo. So once you have a song in mind, doing the voice memo, and that way when you're transcribing to build the chord sheet, then you are playing to the way you remembered it. I don't mind improving it once I do the chord sheet. Like if I wasn't on key, then I don't mind improving it, but it keeps you true to your vision of how the song should be.
I like it. Now I want that software. No.
Well, yeah, I really like the Guitar Pro all the time, but the I still haven't. That's the other project I wanted to do, is take one of your songs and prep it for the jam so that I'd be able to sing it at the jam. So, if you don't mind,
I do not mind.
I'll have to find out if you did one that was simple enough for me to play. You may
Most of
be
them, most of them are very.
you may be in the jazz category.
Eh,
If it's got more than three chords, you're just showing off.
No. BB King's? No. Miles Davis said it ain't showing off if you can do it.
Now that was the only sad thing about one of these songs is because the one where I wrote out the melody, then it looks like it's got umpteen chords, because of course the melody hits many different notes, right? And so it may cause people to panic when they come to the sheet music because it's when it's really just 5 chords all the way through.
I bet you most of those cats are just listening for your root note and then they're wailing from there. I
Oh, I
bet you.
absolutely believe that. When you're doing the solos and so on, you don't even care what the melody is or what the. I asked them that. You said, go ask them how are they soloing, and I did. I
Good.
said, okay, are you guys actually listening to the song one time through, hearing the melody, and then by ear transcribe, picking out what notes to play, or are you trying to play a variant of the melody? And you know what they said? Yes.
That's right.
They said the number one thing you need to do, though, is you've got to
Listen.
get straight in your mind what each note at each fret sounds like.
Uh huh.
Because you need to know, oh, okay, I need this sound next, and you need to know exactly where that is on the fretboard.
That's right.
So that was their advice: was focus on getting the fretboard straight in your mind, which I think just comes from do more solos, because then you're plink through those notes, so that because the more you're doing solos where there's pentatonic or not or major scale or whatever, but the more you're doing, then you know that note's right there. And the same thing with like picking out. So, and I actually think transcribing will help a bunch too, because it's just getting used to, this is the first time that I said, okay, getting, the C, D, C, E. I know the notes are really, transcribing is really simple once you break it down to a bar at a time, right?
That's
Picking
right.
out, like Our Father who art in heaven, if you're just picking out Our Father, that's it. Our Father, Father, Our Father, Our Father who art in heaven. So it's not hard to pick out once you get the. But I did think having the whole melody written out, like we were talking about for Sailor's Hornpipe, because if you actually had the melody written out and you're looking at the melody sitting there, you play the harmony with everybody else, but you're looking at the melody sitting there, then when it's time to solo, you could just play through the melody. Or do variances on the melody. Variances on the melody because it's right there.
Or as the fella said, yes.
Yes, all the above. But I know from playing pentatonics that they can be playing stuff that I don't understand what chords. Because one thing is understanding what chord. Like I have the benefit sometimes of being able to see their hands and what chord they're trying to play.
Mm-hmm.
Although some of those guys are playing alternate, unique chord shapes that nobody else knows. I mean, like they're playing an A as a 1-finger bar, or they're playing an A with their fingers crossed over.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. And probably for very good reasons, because that's getting them ready to go to the next shape.
Yep.
But nasty to watch. To try and emulate. Because I'll look at them and it's like, and sometimes one of the guys will just call out to me. He said, Bruce, he's just playing an E and a D and a C, okay?
That's great. I love these cats.
Just play the E, the D, and the C. And I'm like,
That ain't what he's playing with his fingers.
one of the guys was literally playing up and down, like he plays down the neck, down the neck, down the neck, and then up the neck, up the neck, up the neck. And the host said, he's just playing D and A. All he's doing is, he plays left-handed, so it's backwards and da-da-da, but all he's doing is... but he's doing it in a very dramatic way because he's playing dit 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 dit, but it's just D D D D A up and down the neck.
And he knows that because of where he's at on the neck. That's all it is.
No. That's how you and I would play it, because you would say, I know where the next D down the neck is and what shape it plays. This
Yeah.
guy doesn't know any music theory at all. He doesn't know what chords he's playing.
He's playing it by ear. Yeah.
He's just playing it by ear.
I've met many of those. Those people make me mad. I'm like, dude,
Here's
what
the
do you
one.
do?
I said, I'd like to take your song and write it. Could you write your chords down with your song? Because I'd like to learn some of your songs. And he said, okay, what chord is this? And I
Yep.
said, well, hold your finger still. And we said, okay, there's a G, there's a E, and there's a C. That's a C chord. Okay, so that one's a C chord. Okay, what chord's this? And I said, if you'll just do chord stamps, like draw a picture of where you're pushing your fingers down, I'll go tell you what. I'll go fill in the letters to go with the chords. Just
Put
whatever
a
you
tuner.
are capable of doing. Yeah, that's what I showed him. I showed him the piano tuner. I said, here, use a piano tuner. But you got to play. If you're going to use the piano tuner for that purpose, you have to play the chord as a single note.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to hear the last, if you strum the chord slowly, it's going to hear the bottom string, nothing else. But if you just flick it, or as all one sound, as I would say. Thank you. Sorry we stayed late.
Bruce, you make me very happy. Thank you.
So again, I think we have made progress, and so thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.